Hello and welcome to my channel, Crochet and Copy. My name is Judy. Today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely Sunburst crossbody bag. Let's get started. Just want to let you know that in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do is to make the bag. I'm not going to show you how to add a zipper or a lining to it. I think it would be really nice if you do that, because this is inside our bag how it looks when we complete it. So to keep your stuff secure when you put it inside your bag, a nice lining will really helps. So just keep that in mind. The tutorial is just for the bag. The next tutorial is going to show you how to actually line it and add the zipper. So check that out. That's information is going to be in the description below. And as you see, you could play around with the colors. It's up to you. Be creative. Before we get started, I wanted to share the measurement of the bag. So across we have 7 inches, and then top to bottom 7 inches, and that's without our handles added on. Okay, so that's our measurements. So these are supplies that we're going to be using to make our Sunburst crossbody bag. I'll go over them with you. The hook that we're using is the US G6. It's the 4.00 millimeter. We're going to be using a yarn needle, a few stitch markers, the scissors, and the yarn that we're using is the Impeccable loops and threads. It's a medium 4, 100% acrylic, and this color is the chocolate. All our yarn that we're going to be using are exactly alike. The only thing that's different is the color. So I go over them with you. We have Heather. Next color is the Butterscotch. And lastly, we have the Gold. So these are our supplies. So let's get started. I'm going to start off by doing an adjustable ring. This is how I do my adjustable ring, but please feel free to do it the way you're comfortable with. I take the yarn, place it over my 2 fingers, I let it drape to the back, take my hook, put it between my 2 fingers, pull up a loop, and there you go. You have a circle, a tail, and a loop on your hook. So now what you're going to do, we're going to chain 3. A chain is you put a loop on your hook and pull across. That's 1. Put another loop on and pull across. That's 2. Put a loop on and pull across. That's a chain. Okay, so you did that 3 times. So we're going to put a stitch marker right here, because with this chain that we made 3, it's going to count as one of our double crochet. Because now what we're going to do in our circle, we're going to put 15 double crochet, and the double crochet is yarn over, go into our adjustable ring, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull across the first 2. There you go. You have 2 more loops remaining, yarn over to complete it and pull across. That's it. That's your second. It's a little dark, the yarn, so I'm hoping you see, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some of my little stitch markers so you can see when I show you later what to count them, how they are, because it's going to be a little dark for you to see. Okay, so again, yarn over, go into your adjustable ring, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and you're going to pull across the first 2, and then yarn over again to complete it and pull across those 2 more. Okay, so I put another stitch marker right here. So here's how to do the double crochet again. Yarn over, go into your adjustable ring, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull across the first 2. 2 loops remaining on your hook, yarn over and pull across. And that's it. And I'm going to put another stitch marker right there. I'll show you later, but keep on doing that. So put the double crochet, because remember you're going to put 15 in to our adjustable ring, and so far we did 3. Okay, so keep on and I'll meet you there. Also wanted to show you too, you could tighten the tail a little bit with the adjustable ring so you could work with it a little better, but do not pull it all the way, because I'm going to show you what to do later. So keep on working with getting those double crochet into the adjustable ring. So this is how it looks so far when we get 15 double crochet into our adjustable ring, because here I'll show you how to count it. See, I started so you could see it. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So hopefully you could see the rest, but that's why I put the little extra stitch marker so you could see, because it's a little hard right now. But when you do it, you could see it yourself. And so now to complete round 1, here's the tail. You're going to tighten the tail, pull it tight, and that's it. So now to complete round 1, what we're going to do is, remember when we put that first stitch marker, and that's considered our first double crochet, we're going to put a slip stitch right there to close it up. So a slip stitch is, take out that stitch marker, and how you do that is go into that, so it's on the top of that, when we did the chain, remember? Slip stitches go into that stitch, pull up a loop, hold that loop on your hook, and pull across. And that's it. And that's us completing round 1. So for round 1, we have our 16 double crochet into adjustable ring. So round 2, what we're going to have to fasten off, because we're going to start with the new yarn now. So what you're going to do is chain 1 and pull up a nice size little tail, because we're going to tuck it in later. I grab my scissors and I cut it off, and then I get the new yarn. Now we're going to add the new color yarn, and this is the gold. So what we're going to do is, because remember where we joined with that slip stitch, that was considered one of our double crochet. So see how it looks when we did that. So we're going to, I don't want to use this top part that's loose like that. I'm going to go underneath and hold it a little better over there. Hopefully you could see it. And take your hook and just put it there, and then get a nice little tail, because we got to tuck this in later to start off with. And how you add the new color yarn is just loop over your hook and pull through. That's it. So we added a new color yarn, and this is starting for round 2. You're going to chain 2, 1, 2. So the chain 2 we just did doesn't count as a stitch. It's just to help us get started with doing round 2. In round 2, we're going to do puff stitch. Puff stitch is yarn over your hook, go into that same stitch we just added the new yarn, and then you're going to pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Now again, yarn over, go back into that same stitch, pull up another loop. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over again, go back into that same stitch, pull up another loop, and here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you have 7 loops on your hook. What you're going to do is you're going to yarn over and pull across all 7 of those loops on our hook, and to hold the puff stitch in place, we're going to chain 1, and there you go. So that's the completion of our first puff stitch. I'm going to take this stitch marker and put it up there to start our new row, okay? Okay, so I moved my stitch marker up there. So now I'll show you another set of the puff stitch. Yarn over, and where we took out that stitch marker, go right in there, that stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, go back down into that same stitch, pull up another loop. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over again, back into that same stitch, pull up another loop. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull across all 7 loops on your hook. And to hold the puff stitch in place, chain 1. That's it. So that's what we're going to do. And you're going to end off with 16 of the puff stitch, because remember our row we started, row 1 we completed with 16 stitches, so you're not increasing, so you're going to have that same number of puff stitch. So we're going to take out the net stitch marker, yarn over, go into that stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, go back into that stitch, pull up another loop, and give it a little you know, loose. Don't pull it too tight. So now we have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over and go back down into our stitch. Pull up a loop. There you go. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 loops in your hook. Yarn over and pull across all 7. And you're going to chain 1. And that's it. That's how you do the puff stitch. So keep on going around the row, and I'll meet you back when you finish that last puff stitch, okay? And I'll show you what to do. So now we did that, and we did our last puff stitch for round 2, and we have 16. Because when you're working with it, you see that little gap there. You would think that's a stitch right there, but no, that's not a stitch, okay? So make sure you don't add more than what's necessary. So remember, we put our stitch marker on top of the puff stitch. So to complete round 2, take our stitch marker, and we're gonna go right there, and we're gonna slip stitch again. Slip stitch is pull up a loop, keep it in your hook, and pull it all the way across. And give it a little tug it. And now what we're gonna do is pull up a nice tail, and we're gonna cut it off. I'm gonna grab my scissors and cut it off, and we start round 3. So now we're going to start row 3, and we're going to start with the butterscotch now yarn we're going to use. Remember, give it a nice tail because we're going to attach it. And now we're going to be working in the space between our puff stitch that we did from the previous row. So the first one we're going to do is right here, and what we're doing now is called the bobble stitch. So just add the yarn by pulling up a loop, and that's it. And now we're going to start round 3. The bobble stitch is you're going to yarn over, and you're going to go into that same space. You're going to pull up a loop. So now you have 3 loops in your hook. It's almost, we're going to do like a double crochet, okay? I'll show you. So now you're going to yarn over and pull across the first 2 loops, and that's it. Keep those loops in your hook because we're going to go back down into that same stitch. But before we do that, we're going to do like an incomplete double crochet. So pull up that loop, go into that same stitch, pull up a loop of yarn. Now you're going to go yarn over your hook and pull across the first 2 loops that we have on our hook. There you go. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. We're going to do this till we get 5 loops on our hook. So yarn over, go back down into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and we're going to take off the first 2 loops on our hook. There you go. So that's 4. One more time, yarn over, go back down into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and take off the first 2 loops. And there we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 loops on our hook. So what you're going to do now is yarn over and pull across all of those loops. There you go. And now to hold our bobble stitch in place, we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. And that's it. What I'm going to do is going to put a stitch marker up there. And this is just to help us remember for the next row, okay? So now what you're going to do is, remember, go between the puff stitch. So yarn over, go into that stitch, pull up a loop. Remember, it's like the double crochet. Yarn over, pull across the first 2, keep those 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, go back down into that stitch, pull up another loop, and then you're going to yarn over and pull across the first 2 loops, keep those loops in your hook, yarn over, go back down into that stitch, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull across the first 2 loops. You got 4 loops in your hook. Now yarn over again, go back down into that stitch and pull up another loop, and then put another loop on your hook, take off the first 2. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on your hook now. So what you're going to do now is yarn over and pull across all 5 of them. And remember, chain 1, chain 2. So that's the pattern that we're going to follow for the bobble stitch till we get back to our last space between, and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I reached to the last of our bobble stitch, and that will give us 16 for round 3 that we have, because remember we were not increasing, so you should have 16. And of course I chained my 2 ready to complete that bobble stitch. So where we have our stitch marker that's on top of the first bobble stitch, we're going to slip stitch right there. And the slip stitch again is just go into that stitch, pull up a loop and pull across. And now you're going to just cut off the tail and pull the yarn, and that's it for round 3. So now we're going to move on to round 4, and with round 4 we're going to start working just like we did from round 3 in the space between our stitches that we did, because this is the bobble stitch row. So now we're going to work between those. So for row 4, use the new yarn, and the new yarn is the heather yarn, and we're going to pull up a loop right here, and then we're going to chain 3. So chain 1, 2, 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a stitch marker right at the top of that chain 3. This is to help remind me, because now with this chain 3, that will be considered our first double crochet into that stitch. So this chain 3 counts as a stitch, and the double crochet, we're going to put another 2 double crochet into that same space we just pull up the yarn. So the double crochet again is yarn over before you go into that space, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over again and pull across the first 2, yarn over, and then to complete it, pull across the last 2 loops we have on our hook. So that's 1, go back down into that same stitch and do another double crochet. And that's it. That's the start row 4. So now our next space, what we're going to do, we're going to do all of these stitch in that same space right here. We're going to put 3 triple crochet, we're going to chain 2 and 3 triple crochet. I'll show you. So we're going to yarn over, it's almost like the double crochet, but we're going to yarn over 2 times on our yarn before we go into that space. So go down into that space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull across the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull across the next 2 more loops on your hook. So you're going to yarn over and you're going to complete it by pulling across the last 2, and that's it. Show you again, yarn over 1, yarn over another time twice, go down into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull across the first 2, yarn over, pull across the next 2, and then yarn over to complete it, pull across the last 2. So that's 2 triple we have. So now we're going to do it one more time. So loop over twice, go into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull across the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull across the next 2, yarn over and pull across the last 2. So remember now in the same space we're going to chain 2. So 1, 2, and then we're going to do additional 3 triple crochet. So yarn over twice, go into your space, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull across those 2, and then yarn over again and pull across the next 2, yarn over and pull across our last 2. So that's it. Do 2 more. Remember, loop over twice and just start taking off 2 loops at a time, and that's your triple crochet. And that's, we have 3. So this will be our first corner that we make for round 4. So the next space we're going to put 3 double crochet. You know how to do the double crochet by now. So remember, you yarn over, go into that space. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And the next space, what we're going to do right here, we're going to put 3 half double crochet. The half double crochet is yarn over, go into that space, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over. You're going to pull across all 3 of them at the same time, and that's the half double crochet. So that's 1. Let's do it again. yarn over, go into your space, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull across all 3 of them. So that's 2, yarn over, go into that space again, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull across all 3 of them. So that's it for the half double crochet. In the next space, we're going to put 3 double crochet. So that's 1 into the same space, 2 and 3, and that's our double crochet. So this is a pattern we're going to follow, and we're going to do it 2 more times. And the pattern was that we started off with the further corner, because we're making corners now as we go along. You're going to put 3 triple crochet, chain 2, and then come back to the 3 triple crochet into the next space. So that's what we're at. And then from there you're going to do 3 double crochet and 3 half double crochet, and then you go back to your 3 double crochet. So that's the pattern that you're going to follow around. So here, show you. So the next space right here will be our corner, the corner that we have. In the corner you had 3 triple, chain 2, 3 triple right here. Next one will be the 3 double, 3 half, and then back to the 3 double, and then another corner. So repeat that for 2 more times, and when you do that, I'll show you what to do next, okay? So looking so cute. I like it, I like it. So now we did that for 2 more times, and we made 2 more corners. So we're going to do our last corner now right here. So remember, the pattern is we're going to put 3 triple in that space right there to start off with. So this will be your first triple, another one, and then we're going to do 1 more before we chain 2. So chain 1, 2, and go back down, and we're going to put 3 more triple crochet, and this will be making our last corner. We need 2 more. So this is 1, and then the last triple right in there. And that's it. So that's our last corner made. So now, following the pattern, we're going to do 3 double crochet right into that space. So that's our first one. Remember, all in that same space. That's 2, and this will be our last double crochet. And the last space that we have right there, we're going to put the half double, because remember we started a row with the 3 double crochet. So now the half double, remember you yarn over before you go down, and then you're gonna yarn over and pull across 3 of them, and double crochet, yarn over, go into that space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull across all 3 of them. Last one, yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, 3 loops in your hook, pull across all 3 of them. That's the half double crochet. So that's the pattern, and that's it for round 4. So of course, now remember I said that we'll put the stitch marker. That's consider our first double crochet. We're going to slip stitch right in there. Okay, so let me take out my stitch marker. So remember, it's right on the top of the chain 3, because that was considered a stitch. So slip stitch, you know by now, we did it. And now we're not going to fasten off, because we've been fastened off for all the others. For this, so that's the completion of round 4. It looks pretty nice, pretty nice. So now we're going to start round 5. So now to start round 5, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. And this will be considered our first triple crochet. And now for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, we're going to put triple crochets, okay? And you know how to do the triple. Remember, you double over twice or loop over twice before you go into that stitch, and you pull up a loop and then yarn over, pull across the first two, and then yarn over, pull across the next two, and yarn over and pull across the last two. So that's it. So you do that for 5 times. So you're going to do, well, we did one already. So 1, 2, 3, 4 more times, and I'll show you what to do at the corner, okay? So now we made it to the corner, and basically the same thing we did for round 4, we're going to do right here at the corner for round 5. We're going to do 3 triple. So we start off with that. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And remember, you chain 2, 1, 2, and then back down into that same space corner, and we're going to do additional 3 triple. So I did one already, so this is my second one, and this will be our last one. Okay, that's it. So now what you're going to do, the pattern is you're going to keep on doing in each of our stitches till we get to the corner right here where we have the chain 2 space. You're going to put just 1 triple crochet, okay? And when you get to the corner, you follow the pattern of putting 3 triple crochet, and then you chain 2, and then 3 triple crochet, chain. You're going to go and do 1 triple crochet to get to the corner. Follow the same pattern of 3 triple crochet, chain 2, 3 triple crochet, 1 triple crochet around. Do the same thing for the corner, and then you're going to do 1 triple crochet till you get to the end, and I'll meet you there, okay? And I'll show you what to do next. So now we made it all the way around by doing 1 triple crochet in each stitch, and in the corner we follow that pattern of the 3 triple, chain 2, 3 triple, okay? So now what we're going to do, I'm going to pull up a loop of yarn, give it a nice little tail so we could weave it in, and we're going to cut it off. And then I grab my yarn needle and show you what to do next, how we can join it. So now we're going to join it. I think this is a nice way of joining our work so it doesn't show. And of course I got my yarn needle, right? So remember we said that first what we did was the chain 4 was our first triple for that row. What we're going to do, we're going to skip him as a stitch that we'd have been working on. So we're going to go into the next stitch right here. Just go in the top loops of it and pull. Now you're going to go to the back to where our yarn is coming from, and you're going to go into the middle and come out to the back. See the 2 loops in the back there? And just take it and pull it. And see what we did? We made another like stitch on top, so it looks nice. So now what you're going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and weave it in side or back, and also to remember with all our ends that we have to weave them in too, okay? So what I like to do when they're close together, the ones, you know, when we start and join, just so it holds on, I give it a nice little knot, and then you start weaving them in and do the same thing that we're doing here. So you want to go ahead and weave them in and keep, remember when you weave it in so it doesn't show in the front, you can use the stitches in the back, and then try to hide them in different parts so it doesn't come on loose. Now keep it nice. Okay, and of course remember for our cross body bag you're going to have to make 2 of them, okay? So go ahead and do exactly what we did here and make another one. So now we completed doing that. We did our 2 squares, we tucked in our ends. This is the back of our work. This is the front of our work. So we're going to proceed by sewing our squares on together. Go ahead and cut off a new piece of yarn about 50 to 55 inches, and I already attached my yarn needle. And we're going to sew the wrong side of our squares together, or the inside of our bag together, if you prefer. So you're going to turn your squares together so it's the inside, the front of our bag. Put it together, all right, facing each other. And what we're going to do, we're going to start sewing from here, the top corner, and we're going to use, you see the space, the top loops, like if we're going to do another stitch around, that's what we're going to do to sew around. And we need enough yarn to go, and we're going to leave this part, because since we're starting here, we're going to leave this part open, because this is our bag opening. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that. For us to start sewing, what I like to do is the end of our yarn, I'll show you, we'll do a slip knot stitch, and this is how I do my slip knot stitch. Just drape the yarn over my fingers like I'm doing the adjustable ring when we started, and I pull up a loop, and there you go, and pull it, and you have the little knot, but don't tighten it all the way. I'll show you why in a minute, but just make that little slip knot stay right there. All right, we're going to start now to sew on the top right here, and you pull it, and this is going to anchor it. See, remember we left the slip knot open, so now you're going to just pull, and there you go, anchors it down for you. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So now we're going to continue sewing since we anchored our yarn. And remember, just use the top part of our loops. And we're just going to go through it. That's all we're going to do. And that's how we're sewing it close, okay? And the little tail that we have, I'm just going to try to keep it on top of my work so it anchors it down when we go in. And just follow along as you go. You see it when you do it, all right? It's easier that way. So go ahead and try it. Let's see. We're just going from the front, and that's all we're doing with the stitch. Going from the front into the next stitch, back and forth, that's all. That's how we're sewing it up. Take your time and just keep on going around. Remember, leave up here open, because it would be a top of our bag. So keep on working with that, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so we made it around to our last corner, because remember, we're going to keep the top opening of our bag open. So now we just continue doing our stitch around. We're going to stop right here, because that's, I'm going to change 2 space, and the first stitch after the chain 2 space, we're going to stop right there, because that's where we started on the other side, right there. Okay, so you want it even. So to close it off, we still have the attach. I like to do this, just pick up a loop of yarn, and that will secure it. And then we're going to weave it in and hide it as we go, the extra little tail we got. And that's it for sewing it up. And I'll show you what to do next. So now we're going to start making the strap of our bag. So to start off with, before we do anything, we're going to start off with a slip knot stitch, but I want you to make sure you leave a nice size tail, about 8 to 10 inches, because we're going to use that to sew to our bag later, okay? And a slip knot stitch, how I do it again is just yarn over, pull up a loop, and of course we're using the heather color yarn. All right, so we keep everything same, and just tighten that little knot next to your hook, and that's it. So now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and that's it. So now we're going to pull up loops, and we're going to pull up a loop, not from the first chain next to our hook, but the second one. I'm going to turn it to the back, so we're going to use those little bumps to the back of our chain. It's not going through the front here, but we're going to use this little bump right here in the back. And that's the second chain from the hook. We're just going to pull up a loop and hold on to it, okay? And then the last chain right there, pull up a loop. Remember the back part of it. And there you go. Have 3 loops on your hook. So with that, that's the completion of row 1. Now for row 2, we're going to take off our hook out of the first 2 loops like that. But I want you to make sure that you hold on to these 2 loops that we're going to take off the hook from, because we could lose them very easily. So pinch them tightly, hold them really tight, and then leave that last loop on your hook. And then I usually work from the back, so I don't pull against my other loops because I don't want to lose them. Pull up a loop, go into the next loop, and do the same thing, just pull up a loop. And then our last loop we have right there, we're going to do the same thing, just go into it and pull up a loop. And there you go. So that's for row 2. Now with that, for row 2, that's our pattern moving forward. So row 2, we're going to repeat it till we get the desired length of our bag strap. Or I did my bag strap to 35 inches. So I'll show you a couple more times. Row 2, remember pinch, hold on to those 2 loops. Don't lose them, pinch them tight, hold on to them, take out your hook, and then keep the last loop on your hook. Work from the back, pull up a loop, go into the next loop, and pull up a loop. Keep those 2 loops on your hook, go into the last loop, and pull up another loop. So you always have your 3 loops on the hook. That's what you're doing. So that was row 3. I'll do another row with you so you can see. Remember, pinch tightly on those 2 loops. We don't want to lose them. And then yarn over, pull up a loop, go into the second loop. And with this, you have to move slow. Pull up a loop, and then go into the last loop and pull up the next loop. And there you go. So just, you have to move slow. That's why, because you're going to lose those little loops, and they're so easy to lose. So keep on working with that pattern of doing that row with the, make sure you have your 3 loops and don't lose them. And you're going to do that, as I said, to your desired length you want for your bag. So I completed making my bag strap already, but I just wanted to show you how to complete it. Okay, so we do it. This will be your last and final row for it when you're finished. How you do that is those 3 loops you have on your hook, just yarn over, pull across, and chain 1, and then pull up a nice tail, because again, remember, we're going to keep that same 8 inches, nice long tail, 8 to 10 inches, so that we can sew on to our bag. So just go ahead and cut it off when you reach to the desired length that you want your strap to be, okay? So that's it. Then I'll show you what to do next. So go ahead and turn your bag inside out. So now it's on the right side. This is inside our bag. That's right, because we're going to sew the straps on the right side of our bag. We're going to do it to the side. Already have my yarn needle attached to the tail we left earlier. And we're going to go down the side of it, and we're going to use like an inch go down, all right? An inch off of our strap. Right there. And then we're going to go into the bag. Okay, hopefully you can see good. And then we're going to just come back out. So we're just going to come back out, okay? We're going to go through, in and out. And then back inside. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up the bag here and come around from up top couple of stitches up here and down, and then finish off back here. So that's what we're going to do. Just go up the sides, make sure you put nice stitches up here to hold it, and then come back down. So that's what we're going to do to put the bag handle on. So I made it back down because I went up to the top and came back down. So I'm going to weave in my ends now inside my bag. Make sure it's nice and secure. So you're going to do the same thing for the other strap to the other side. I'm not going to show you how to do that part because I figure by now you got it. So anyway, so weave it in, and then when you finish, I'll meet you back. Congratulations, we're finished doing our bag. I think it looks pretty nice. I like the effect of like a sunflower. Really nice. You did great work. And our strap, when we finish sew it on, came out pretty good. The inside of our bag. And you did all of this on your own with your own little hands. That's our strap. Take it in. It's so nice. All pretty. That's it. We're all finished. Thank you for watching. Let me know how your bag came out. Bye-bye.